You're watching Spectrum News 1. It's 12 o'clock.
Hi there, I'm Taylor Torgano. This is your Spectrum News 1 hyper-local update. Black unemployment just rose to its highest level since January of 2022. The Labor Department reported the jobless rate for Black Americans climbed to 6.8% in June. That's up from May's 6%. The national unemployment rate is down to 4.1%. Economists say Black Americans are usually impacted first whenever the economy begins to weaken. The Trump administration plans to restrict shipments of AI chips from Santa Clara-based NVIDIA to Malaysia and Thailand. This is part of an effort to crack down on suspected semiconductor smuggling into China. A draft rule from the Commerce Department seeks to prevent China from obtaining those components through intermediaries in the two Southeast Asian nations, according to people familiar with this matter. The rule is reportedly not yet finalized and could still change. The San Bernardino Police Department is adding officers this weekend to pull over drivers suspected of being under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It recommends planning ahead to have a designated driver, using public transportation or ride shares, or calling a cab.
Time now for Weather on the Ones. I'm meteorologist Ferdinand Afure. Happy Friday. Happy 4th of July. Beautiful day out there. Sun came out early in Redondo Beach. A little bit of breezy conditions out there. Temperatures during the afternoon hours, 70s and 80s from the coast to the basins. Valleys will be in the 90s. Hot in the Coachella Valley, right around 110 degrees. 90s and breezy up in the high desert at 9 o'clock when we see most of the fireworks displays. Temperatures middle 60s to 70s west of the mountains. 90s still in the Coachella Valley.
Hello there. Happy 4th of July to you. I'm Taylor Torgano. This is your afternoon, and it starts right now. Well, happy birthday to the USA. Whether you're grilling, swimming, or watching fireworks, there are celebrations all across Southern California today. Our Vanya Patino joins us from Huntington Beach, where the festivities are alive and well out there. How's it going, Vanya?
Hey there, Taylor. Good afternoon. That is right. Well, 4th of July celebrations are in full swing here in Huntington Beach. They're expecting about 500,000 people to make their way to the city here for really a full day of celebrations. Things kicked off in the morning with a 5K. Then, of course, the parade, really the start of the show today. People lining up throughout the streets, reserving their spots since like 3 in the morning this morning because things are really serious with this parade. And, of course, the celebrations continue throughout the day with live music at the pier, as well as that 9 p.m. fireworks show where a lot of people are just going to go sit by the beach and enjoy this, safe fireworks show that attracts so many people to the city throughout the year. I actually spoke with one of the people that was in the parade. She's Miss Huntington Beach, Nicole Vaught, and she has a little bit more about what that was like for her.
So this is my first time in the 4th of July parade, and it's truly just an honor. Honestly, it was so awesome just being able to see how many people are able to show out for our community. Obviously, our Huntington Beach locals love Huntington Beach. They love the 4th of July, but being able to see how many people like to come visit is incredible. I just think it really shows how vibrant our community is and just how well-spoken and awesome it is, honestly.
And the celebrations aren't just happening today here in the city of Huntington Beach. They also have a jam-packed schedule for Saturday and Sunday, telling people if you weren't able to make it out today, or if you did and you want to keep the party going, they're going to be here all weekend having a 4th of July weekend, if you will. Now, I do want to say, Taylor, this is a sharp contrast with what we're seeing, in the rest of Southern California. Many cities canceling their own 4th of July events in response to immigration enforcement activity and just kind of the political climate that we have been seeing in the past couple of weeks here in Southern California. In downtown LA, the Gloria Molina Grand Park Summer Block celebration that has also been happening for quite a while now was canceled in response to that. El Sereno had their event canceled, Whittier had their event canceled, Bell Garden, so many different events throughout the city, just kind of responding to the political climate and deciding to pause their celebrations. That is obviously not the case here in Huntington Beach, so they're also telling people if the areas around you had their events canceled, they're also welcoming folks from outside. Taylor?
All right, Vanya, thank you. It looks like a good time out there, but it's not all fun and games out there today. SoCal has seen a series of accidental fireworks explosions leading up to the 4th of July. Take a look at this. A 30-year-old man is dead and 4 homes are burned after a fireworks explosion in Pacoima on Thursday. Multiple people and several animals were also reportedly injured in the blaze. Fire crews were able to put out the fire around an hour after arriving on the scene. Another person is also dead after a fireworks explosion at a home in Simi Valley. A spokesperson with the Ventura County Fire Department says it is unclear whether the fireworks started the fire or ignited as a result of the blaze. Spectrum News spoke with the director of UC Irvine's Health Regional Burn Center, and he has these safety tips when handling fireworks this weekend. He says don't let children handle any fireworks. Don't point lit fireworks at people or animals. Keep a safe distance and utilize a protective barrier. With the risk of hot weather and firework accidents this weekend, the LA Fire Department is moving crews into place to get ready for potential emergencies during the 4th of July weekend. Plans include additional brush patrols, wildfire crews, and a helicopter crew. LA Mayor Karen Bass says the city's emergency management department will also be activated this weekend to respond as needed. Here's what else you need to know today. CHP is ramping up patrols on state highways and roads this weekend for the 4th of July. The full force deployment is active now until just before midnight on Sunday. CHP says the focus is on identifying and arresting impaired drivers and discouraging speeding. LA County Public Health Department is warning people to avoid the water due to high bacteria levels. The affected areas are Ramirez Creek at Paradise Cove, Castle Rock Storm Drain in Topanga, the Bel Air Bay Club at Will Rogers, the Santa Monica Pier, Mother's Beach in Marina del Rey, and Inner Cabrillo Beach in San Pedro. If you are going to the beach, make sure to be safe out there. And good news on this 4th of July. Gladstone's is partially reopening today. The iconic PCH seafood restaurant was closed for 6 months after getting damaged during the Palisades fire. Now Gladstone's is reopening its outdoor deck with a slimmed-down menu just in time for the holiday weekend. The main building is set to reopen next year. We'll leave you now with a look out at the White House as President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania get ready for a fireworks display on the South Lawn. Happy 4th of July to all of you watching. This is your afternoon. Stay with us. Let's turn things over to Ferdinand Fuhr, who's tracking the very latest weather conditions. Ferd, it's 4th of July.
Yes, and it's feeling very 4th of July-ish.
I was going to sing. We're feeling hot, hot, hot.
She can sing. You don't want to hear me sing.
I can sing?
Yeah,
that was good?
Better than I could do. I'm going to scare the people away.
Yeah, well, I might have already.
It's going to be a good, beautiful 4th of July. Like the sun's already out. Marine layer will be minimal this evening. And temperatures will be a little hot inland. At the coast, nice and comfortable. Speaking of the coast, here's the view from the Santa Monica Mountain. Look how gorgeous this is, Taylor. Absolutely spectacular this morning. Marine layer clouds were there, but they did mix out rather quickly. And then as we went into the afternoon, look at that. Beautiful. Gorgeous sunshine out there. Same pattern as we head into the weekend as well. So a lovely 4th of July weekend on tap for us. Here's the futurecast. One thing to note, gusty winds through the high deserts. Be very mindful about the fireworks and all that kind of stuff as we go through the afternoon hours. A nice sea breeze at the beaches. By the time we get to 9 o'clock this evening, when most of the fireworks displays start, we're looking at a few patches of clouds closer to the coast. They should not hinder the fireworks displays. The bases will be high enough so the fireworks will go under them and you won't get kind of a hazy fireworks show. It'll be a nice one out there, or plenty of nice ones out there. By the time we get into the morning hours, 8 a.m., marine layer clouds will go inland, mainly into the basins and just partially into the valleys, kind of like what we saw this morning. And then for your Saturday, they'll clear back to the coast, but there could still be some stubborn patches along the immediate coast. But your Saturday is looking nice as well, and temperatures will increase as we head to the middle part of next week. So temperatures for this afternoon, low 90s to middle 90s in the Inland Empire, upper 80s, close to 90 degrees in the San Fernando Valley, Santa Clarita Valley, up in the high desert, low to mid 90s as well. And you see at the coast, generally 70. So a very nice day on tap. Overnight lows going into Saturday morning, mostly 60s out there. And then as you go into Saturday afternoon, it'll be a little bit warmer. You're seeing San Bernardino 98, Ontario 95. We'll keep the low to mid 70s going at the beaches. And next week, it's going to heat up quite a bit. Here is San Bernardino, of course, one of the hotter spots. We're a few degrees above average through Monday. But by the time we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, temperatures running a good 10 degrees above average. Triple-digit heat comes back. So it's going to get hot, Taylor.
All right, Bert, thank you so much. President Trump and First Lady Melania will hold a July 4th celebration on the South Lawn of the White House today. The event is expected to include a military family picnic in the afternoon and a firework display in the evening. This comes as the president celebrates the passage of his big, beautiful bill. And millions of California families will be watching closely to see what that bill means for health care. The bill slashes nearly $1 trillion in health spending over the next decade, with some of the deepest cuts aimed at Medicaid. Our Genevieve Glass has more.
62-year-old Mar Vista resident Alicia Naff says tending to her garden helps with her mental health.
It's very, very peaceful and things that kind of calm my mind and get me centered outside of traffic. It's wonderful.
Alicia says that, along with care from Venice Family Clinic, has helped her manage her depression and her ADHD.
I'm on a very tight little budget, and it opened me up to realizing I have no insurance. And then I found Medi-Cal through Venice Family Clinic. I didn't even think I was qualified for any insurance, and nobody's given up on me. And when you're poor, sometimes they do.
But the care she depends on may be at risk. Alicia is one of millions of Californians who could be impacted by President Donald Trump's tax and spending bill. The bill, which awaits the president's signature, would scale back the Affordable Care Act's Medicaid expansion and add new eligibility requirements. Dr. Mitesh Popat, CEO of Venice Family Clinic, says the changes could impact many of the 45,000 patients they serve across the West Side, Inglewood, and the South Bay.
My fear is that some of our patients will be falling off of coverage, will be falling off of Medi-Cal, Medicaid nationally, as is in the news cycle, and as a result, will not be getting the care they need. And the people that are the most vulnerable in that subset, such as those with behavioral health needs, will be unduly and disproportionately affected.
California could lose billions in federal support. Political analyst Dan Schnur says as many as 3.4 million Medi-Cal enrollees could be affected.
Because the bill would require individuals to work a certain number of hours each month, because it would require them to renew their documentation and paperwork more frequently, projections are that that would cause millions of people to no longer be able to access this coverage.
But supporters of the bill, including U.S. Representative Jim Jordan, says it doesn't cut Medicaid. It refocuses it.
If they're on Medicaid, they're not going to be cut off. The argument we're hearing from the left is we're kicking people off. That's just not the case. We're saying if you're on and you're able-bodied, you should work. The hard-working people that I get the privilege of serving, I want to make sure their taxes don't go up, and this bill does that.
Alicia now spends her free time handing out backpacks to homeless seniors on Skid Row. She says she worries what her mental health might look like if her support system disappears.
I don't want to go backwards, and I don't know if there would be support, and that wouldn't be too good.
For Alicia and millions like her, this debate isn't just about policy. It's about what happens if the safety net no longer holds.
Genevieve, thank you. U.S. businesses could soon learn the tariff rate they'll have to pay for certain imports. President Trump says he's likely to start sending determination letters to countries today as the pause on his reciprocal tariffs is set to end next week. According to the president, rates will range from 10 to 20% to 60 or 70%. President Donald Trump also issued an executive order increasing fees at national parks for foreign tourists. The president says the additional revenue will go towards improving national park infrastructure. The order also revokes a diversity and inclusion initiative at the parks, which the president issued during his first term. After the break, the very latest on the Trump administration's immigration enforcement efforts. But first, here's your community calendar.
And now, let's see what's happening in our community. Brought to you by your team at the law offices of Jacob Emrani and calljacob.com.
Time now for Weather on the Ones. I'm meteorologist Ferdinand DeFure. Happy Friday. Happy 4th of July. Hopefully you have a nice long weekend. Beautiful sunset last night. Of course, the marine layer clouds came in. This is the Santa Monica Bay. Same story overnight tonight. Marine layer clouds will come back during the afternoon and evening hours. Shouldn't hinder the fireworks, though, but it did make for an extra spectacular sunset last night. Marine layer clouds this morning, as we fast forward to this morning, started off cloudy, but they cleared back to the coast. And then we, of course, had a sunny afternoon, a little bit of hazy sunshine. And yes, those marine layer clouds will come back in later on this afternoon and evening. But again, they will not hinder the fireworks displays. So forecast highs for this afternoon, upper 60s, low 70s for the Ventura Coast, upper 80s, low 90s in our valleys. For the LA coast, same story, generally low to mid 70s, a little bit farther inland, middle 70s, downtown LA 82, and then middle 80s a little bit deeper in our basins. And then for the Inland Empire, a little bit of heat out there. Chino 90, San Bernardino 94, Redlands 94, and out in the Coachella Valley pushing 110 degrees. Inland OC temperatures middle 70s, Irvine, Fullerton 81, and then low to mid 70s up and down the San Diego and OC coast. So a couple areas of low pressure will move by through the Pacific Northwest. Won't really affect our weather too much through the weekend. But then as we head into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, this ridge of high pressure will start to build in. It'll shunt that area of low pressure to the north. And then by the time we get into the middle part of next week, it'll be hot inland. A lot of the places inland triple digits, and that'll last all the way through Sunday. At least the above average temperatures will have at least a few days of low 100s. All right, here's your 7-day forecast for the coast. Middle 70s across the board. Marine layer get a little shallower as we head into the early part of next week. LA Basin low 80s, and then right around 90 beginning on Tuesday for the San Fernando Valley. Upper 80s for today, low 90s through Monday, middle to upper 90s Tuesday, Wednesday. Mountains 70s pretty much across the board until Tuesday, and then we're back into the 80s for the high desert, windy conditions during the afternoons. 90s until about Tuesday. Triple digits come back on Wednesday. And then for the Coachella Valley, yes, it will be hot and it will be sunny. Temperatures right around 110 for the next 4 days. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, temperatures getting above 115 degrees. So Taylor, it's going to be a little bit of a heat wave coming up middle part of next week, okay?
I'm looking forward to the heat. Thanks, Bird. Happening today, ongoing protests against federal immigration raids in Los Angeles. This protest included a march, continuing into a rally at LA City Hall. The primary focus, according to organizers, was to denounce ICE and condemn what it described as paramilitary tactics and dictator tendencies displayed by the White House. President Trump's big, beautiful bill being signed today is dedicating $170 billion for more immigration operations. Republicans are celebrating their first major legislative victory of President Trump's second term, passing a massive tax and immigration bill. It's what they're calling the big, beautiful bill, and it includes billions of dollars on immigration enforcement and defense. Our Bree Steffen is in San Diego with how local leaders are anticipating funding for border security to change the landscape around America. Bree.
This is an inside look into a sophisticated drug smuggling tunnel. Border Patrol agent Joseph Rude says their tunnel team discovered the entry between the two border walls in Otay Mesa. The uncompleted tunnel extended more than 1,000 feet inside the U.S. and was equipped with electrical wiring, lighting, ventilation systems, and a track system designed for transporting large quantities of contraband.
Basically, putting this tunnel out of commission is it's a national security concern. these tunnels can be used for all kinds of different things beyond drugs and human smuggling.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection said the tunnel was built by a foreign terrorist organization with substantial resources. Agent Rude says this is an example of how important it is to keep America's borders secure. President Donald Trump's tax and spending bill would give billions of dollars to Customs and Border Patrol for things like access roads, cameras, lights, sensors, and more agents, along with funding to close gaps in the border wall.
We need funding in order to complete those fencing. And, a lot of people think, well, what's the fence going to do? More than anything, it's a deterrent.
Tracy Law is the executive director of Viet Rise, a community-based organization who advocates for working-class immigrant communities. She says President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act would also give billions of dollars to the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
I'm very worried. This is the most amount of money that we're going to see put toward immigration enforcement than we've seen in a long time. This will massively expand Trump's deportation agenda.
Tracy believes that with this increased funding, communities all over the country, not just border communities, can expect to see more militarized immigration enforcement.
We're definitely imagining an increase in surveillance. Every move is going to get tracked, increased militarized operations. If we think we saw, the peak of it, I don't think we're at the peak of it. I think we're going to continue to see these ICE raids in LA and Orange County increase. We've never seen what $45 billion increase to immigration enforcement has done because it's never happened.
Agent Rude says they have seen border security improve with the installation of concertina wire on the barrier and the first gap in the fencing recently closed. He hopes they can get additional help to keep citizens safe.
We're talking about technology, more human resources, equipment, all of the things that we need to basically complete our mission and perform our duties on a day-to-day basis. Border security is national security. It's an important thing.
Working to keep San Diego secure amid changing policy.
Thank you, Bree. And a new poll out suggests that the majority of Americans believe that the White House's uptick in immigration enforcement has gone too far. The latest Marist poll shows 54% of respondents say ICE has overstepped. The poll, however, finds a major split across party lines. When broken down, 83% of Democrats say ICE has gone too far, whereas nearly half of Republicans say that ICE's actions are appropriate. Now, both parties did find some common ground, with the vast majority of respondents from both parties saying they do support deporting illegal immigrants with criminal backgrounds. A new forecast from the World Travel and Tourism Council predict that international tourism may dip this summer, including here in Southern California. Many tourists, especially from Canada, are pivoting travel plans away from the U.S. The shift is largely in part due to the White House's tariff and immigration policies. Because of this, the U.S. could lose $12 billion in international tourism dollars. That's down more than 22% from last year. Up next, a record-breaking travel weekend with millions taking to the roads and to the skies over the holiday. We'll have tips and top destinations in just a bit. But first, we'll leave you with a look out at traffic on the 405 in West LA. Wow, it looks really clear out there. Usually, it's pretty backed up in that same region. So go take advantage. We'll be right back. Hello there, I'm Taylor Torgano. Here's your Spectrum News 1 hyper-local update. Gas prices are at a low point in 4 years. The national average is $3.15. The drop in gas prices has been largely driven by lower prices for oil following President Trump's announcement of a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. That eased concerns about a potential supply shock. California is at $4.56. All the Southern California counties are around that mark, with Riverside slightly lower at $4.39. Refinery issues continue to plague the state. The United States threatened to impose a 17% tariff on agriculture and food exports from the European Union. That's according to an EU diplomat today. Negotiators from the European Commission are reportedly in talks with the U.S. to avoid further hikes. At the same time, the president said his administration will start notifying trade partners today of the new U.S. tariff on their exports effective August 1st. He said 10 to 12 letters are going out today, with more in the next few days. And a warning to beachgoers for the holiday weekend. Bacteria warnings have been issued at 8 different beaches. The LA County Public Health Department released a statement warning residents to avoid surfing, swimming, and other ocean water activities. You can find the full details at the LA County Public Health Department's website.
Time now for Weather on the Ones. I'm meteorologist Ferdinand. If you're happy 4th of July, sunny skies over the Inland Empire, a little bit of haze out there. Temperatures will be warm to hot inland. Inland Empire, mostly low to mid 90s. San Fernando Valley, upper 80s, pushing 90. At the beaches, very comfortable, upper 60s to middle 70s. Over the next 7 days, a heat wave is on the way. Middle 90s for Riverside through Monday. Upper 90s and triple digits come back through the middle part of next week. That's your Weather on the Ones.
Well, a record-breaking 4th of July travel week is underway. AAA projects 5.5 million Southern Californians will travel over the holiday. More than 4 million people in the region are hitting the road, and more than 750,000 are taken to the skies. Airports around the country are bracing for a record-breaking travel weekend. Our Timothy Parker is at LAX with more on how people there are trying to beat the rush. Tim?
For as much as airlines and airports have been in the news lately for all the wrong reasons, that is not stopping travelers from taking to the skies for summer vacation, starting with the 4th of July. And they're not just flying too, they're also taking to the roadways in droves. The anxiety which comes with trying to make it to the gate at the airport. But for Connie Lauer, it's all worth it. She came to SoCal from Northern California for a Disneyland vacation with her daughter and granddaughter.
It's been hectic because we have a lot of luggage and, they only allow you to take so many bags in. So that's the hectic part. But you're not going to work. You're going somewhere special. And that's why we like to travel.
Connie is one of the millions expected to fly this week, with the FAA calling for 51,000 flights on the 4th of July alone. And down at Dockweiler Beach, Vince Adams is in the holiday spirit. He drove his RV from San Bernardino County for his Independence Day celebration.
Some neighbors were going to drive down, so there's about 5 of us RVs out here together this weekend. We're retired now, so we take the RV all over the place.
In all, AAA predicts 72 million people will travel at least 50 miles this holiday week, almost 7 million more since before the pandemic in 2019.
Really what we're seeing is that it is going to be a very busy travel year, 2.1% increase from last year's travel year.
Gianella Giglino is a spokesperson for AAA, who says road travel may be on the rise this year because of gas prices at its lowest on average in 4 years.
They definitely see it as an opportunity of like, hey, we should go on that camping trip that we've been wanting to go to, especially with 4th of July being on a Friday. It's definitely a big incentive for people to want to go on take those trips.
Connie says the airports she's been through have been really busy, but for her, it's not so bad.
It's fun. You meet a lot of new people. You really do. A lot of other people that come from different countries.
And ultimately spending quality family time in the summertime. There are some storms expected on the East Coast, so if you're traveling via plane to the East Coast this 4th of July weekend, be prepared, know the cancellation policies and also the delay policies of your airline that you're flying on. Also, there's been a new law about distracted driving. You can't do it. Put the phone down, and AAA also suggests that with roads being busy this holiday weekend. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Tim. And with this TV magic, joining me now to discuss this record-breaking travel week is Gianella Giglino with AAA. Thank you so much for coming in studio.
Thank you for having me on 4th of July.
Yes, so why so many travelers on this 4th of July? How do you explain the influx of people heading out to different destinations?
Well, it's a multitude of reasons. After the pandemic, we really saw that more people wanted to take advantage and go on those vacations. We also have 4th of July landing on a Friday, so that's another incentive for a lot of people to want to go out. And also the gas prices. We're seeing some of the lowest prices for this time of year since 2021. So people see that and they're like, hey, let's go on those road trips. Let's go to Disneyland.
Yeah, how fun, right? Well, you just kind of mentioned, but where are people headed? What are some of the top destinations this weekend?
So, of course, domestic travel, we're seeing the top destination being Orlando, Florida, of course, but also just places that people are going to be driving to also include Anaheim, San Diego, as well as our coastal cities and the Grand Canyon, and of course, Las Vegas.
We also see Anchorage. That's surprising to me. Fort Lauderdale, which we love.
Yes.
Seattle, New York.
Yes, absolutely. A bunch of different climates for everybody.
Yeah. Arkansas?
Yeah.
Well, most people are already at their destination by now. Do you have any tips for getting back home on Sunday?
Yes, absolutely. So on July 6th, we're going to see the most amount of people on the road heading back home from their destinations. And in the afternoon in particular is when we're going to see the most congestion on the road. So if you are planning to leave on July 6th, you want to get home a little bit early. So if that means leaving your house as early as possible, that would be the best move, or later in the evening, of course. And always be safe when you are driving, with free of distractions, and making sure that you had a good time and you're safe on the road.
Especially with that new law that Tim was just mentioning. You cannot be on your phone in any capacity, at least here in California.
Yes, absolutely.
We're curious here. We're all like a family at Spectrum News, so we have to know, what are you up to after this? Are you grilling, swimming, any fun plans?
Yes, I'm going to be doing both. I'm going to my sister's house right after this, so I'm very happy to join you guys and go straight there.
Gianella Giglino with AAA, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So staying with travel news, Hollywood Burbank Airport is getting another $8 million from the FAA for its new terminal. The new funding will help pay for construction of the area where planes are serviced and prepared for flights. Altogether, the project is going to cost more than $1 billion. It's on track to open in October of 2026. Coming up, a competitive eating legend reclaims the title at Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a bit.
We're talking about, unofficially at this point,
all right, let's turn things over to our Ferdinand Fuhr. He's tracking the very latest weather conditions. It's hot outside, so It's a perfect day to catch some rays, but the air quality, not so great.
Yeah, well, first on the catch some rays, sunscreen.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes.
If you're sensitive to the sun, I'd say 50.
Yeah,
right now.
even if you're
SPF.
not, because
health reason, or skin.
Exactly.
We like nice skin.
Yes.
Air quality is not too good. When it gets hot, especially in our valleys, smog bakes and gets worse. And then you add all the smoke from the fireworks, illegal and legal, and then it's not going to be good. We'll get to that in just a moment. Right now, we're looking at clear skies from the deserts up in the mountains, a little bit of haze up there. You might even see a little smoke from the fire up in San Luis Obispo County. Madre fire, it's coming and drifting south a little bit, but it's high up in the atmosphere. Basin, sunshine, and at the coast, sunshine as well. So the National Weather Service and the South Coast Air Quality Management District has issued an air quality alert, basically from the mountains all the way out to the coast, because of the pollutants from smog and then also from the fireworks here. So here's how it looks today. Yellow at the coast, that's moderate, but the oranges are unhealthy for sensitive groups, and then the reds are unhealthy for everybody. If you are sensitive to pollutants and whatnot, asthma, best to stay indoors and run the air conditioning. For tomorrow, more moderate across Southern California, but from the IE to the San Gabriel Valley, we're seeing that red, which is the unhealthy for everybody out there. And again, especially during the afternoon, the breezes push all the pollutants into the valleys, and that's why you see it red there. As far as the temperatures go, we're starting to go above average. So Coachella Valley, a couple degrees above average for tomorrow. Riverside, a few degrees above average. Same deal for our basins, Fullerton, and then right about where we should be at our coastal communities. Temperatures for your Saturday getting hotter. We're going middle 90s to upper 90s in the IE. Some upper 80s to low 90s to middle 90s up toward Saugus, and it'll be nice at the beaches with temperatures generally in the 70s. So if you don't like the heat, head to the beach. You got better air quality, and then of course you got cooler temperatures, much more comfortable. So over the next 10 days, here's Fontana. Average is 92. We're going to be a few degrees above average through Monday, and then a heat wave comes Wednesday, Thursday, actually pretty much Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Many of us will see triple-digit heat. And of course, if you like it a little bit cooler, head to the coast. Here's Manhattan Beach for you, average 74, so very close to the average through the next 3 days, and then a few degrees above average, but nice and comfortable, Taylor. Temperatures getting into the middle to upper 70s. We might even see a couple low 80s closer to the beaches as well. Back to you.
I'll be heading there this weekend.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you for that beautiful weather. New details about a botched fire debris disposal at multiple local landfills. Federal cleanup crews have sent truckloads of toxic waste to residential landfills without testing it for asbestos. This happened in February and March. Workers in at least one of the landfills were not wearing protective masks when handling the asbestos-tainted debris. Black unemployment just rose to its highest level since January of 2022. The Labor Department says the jobless rate for Black Americans jumped to 6.8% in June, up from 6% in May. Black women in particular saw significant job losses, a red flag economists say could signal broader economic strain. Nationally, unemployment fell to 4.1%. And Nissan is recalling more than 440,000 vehicles over an engine issue. The automaker says engine bearings may have defects that could lead to engine failure, raising the risk of a crash. The recall covers certain Nissan Rogues between 2021 to 2024 model years and 2019 to 2020 Altimas, as well as a number of 2019 to 2022 Infiniti QX50s and 2022 Infiniti QX55s sold under the automaker's luxury brand. Nissan will start notifying drivers late next month. The Tony-winning revival of Parade is currently playing at the Ahmanson Theater in downtown LA. The play is ripped from the headlines, inspired by a trial in 1913. The story takes a hard look at a dark chapter in America's past. Our Tara Lynn Wagner caught up with one of the actors who's no stranger to the material or to Southern California. Tara Lynn.
We were in for a ride.
The very first time Robert Knight saw a professional theater production, it was a tour of the musical Parade at the Mark Taper Forum. He came on a field trip with his high school class. Little did he know that years later, he'd be back here.
And look, I'm on the poster.
His face actually on the building. He's not performing at the Taper, but he is in a tour of the musical Parade, on stage this time at the Ahmanson, a few feet away. It's a full circle moment for the actor, who's now raising his own family in the San Fernando Valley. He did Parade with another actor in the touring company at Golden Performing Arts Center, a youth theater program in Canoga Park. He'd go on to do the show at CSUN and the Chance Theater in Anaheim, and now he's performing all over the country, with a stop here once again at home. He's excited to be back and honored as always to be part of such an important show as this one.
It is a very tough subject matter, but I feel like that is the point of theater. It's supposed to teach us, it's supposed to enlighten us. I never would have known anything about this case if I hadn't seen the show.
The musical is based on the story of Leo Frank, a Jewish man from Brooklyn who was newly married, living in Georgia, and running a pencil factory in 1913 when he was accused of a horrific crime against a young girl named Mary Fagan. Max Chernin plays Leo Frank.
I think it's a really singular piece of theater. It's a true crime, it's a real event, it's a real story based on real people.
With real prejudices and monumental stakes. The musical is set 50 years after the end of the Civil War. And the riffs in the community are raw and cavernous. And also, Max says, timely.
There's never been a more prescient time to present a show that's talking about polarization of people, anti-Semitism, racism, the power of the media, propaganda, and how quickly we can find a common enemy and kind of rally behind them in a way that can have some disastrous effects.
During the tour, the cast has had a chance to visit some of the historic locations and learn more deeply about the case, which was one of the very first to be taken up by the then newly formed Anti-Defamation League. The ADL has argued Frank's innocence for over a century, even putting together a discussion guide for the musical. Robert, whose character is also accused before Leo Frank, found the site visits enlightening and just jarring, but ultimately, he feels it's important to know the history.
History repeats itself, right? And you need to learn history in order to not continue to repeat it. And I feel like this story is one of those good stories to bring people in to learn.
Both to learn about and to learn from.
What an important story to tell. Thank you, Tara Lynn. And you can see Parade at the Amundsen through July 12th. Tickets are available online now. You can buy them at centertheatergroup.org. Well, Dodgers slugger Max Muncy is heading to the injured list with a left knee bone bruise. The team says he'll miss several weeks, but avoided structural damage, which is good there. Muncy was hurt during Wednesday's game against the White Sox. But the show goes on for the boys in blue without their star third baseman. The Dodgers, hot off a sweep of the Chicago White Sox, now host the Houston Astros this weekend. The first game of the series is tonight at 6:10. There will also be a fireworks show after the game. You don't want to miss it.
Time now for Weather on the Ones. I'm meteorologist Ferdinand Fuhrer. Happy Friday. Happy 4th of July. If you're heading to the beaches, well, they're crowded. Look at all the people here at Huntington Beach. Something to note, some big surf on the south and southwest facing beaches. Here comes a pretty big one right there. So big surf, good for the surfers. If you're not such a good swimmer, be very careful going in the water. So Ventura County, LA County, anywhere from 2 to 3 to 3 to 4. Much bigger in Orange County with the southwest facing beaches, 6 to 8, 4 to 5 in San Diego County. So where you got the bigger surf, we've got the higher risk for rip currents. Water temperatures coming up a little bit, upper 60s to low 70s. So a little bit chilly. Don't need a wetsuit though. And then for the UV index for the coast, we're looking at it an 11, which is very high, peaking between 12 and 2. I suggest wearing a sunscreen SPF of 50. I know from experience I just got burned with a 30. Friday, temperatures this afternoon, low 70s for the coast, low 80s for the basins, 90s in the valleys, mountains 70s, high desert, low desert, 90s and triple digits. For this evening, if you're going to the fireworks displays, bring a sweatshirt. If you're going to the coast, middle 60s, basins, middle 60s, 70s for the valleys and the Inland Empire. Mountains will be in the upper 50s, high desert 70s, and still pretty hot there in the Coachella Valley, right around 96 degrees at 9 o'clock. A few clouds at the beaches, but they should not hinder your fireworks displays, so good news there. Middle to upper 90s for tomorrow in the IE, upper 80s to low 90s, San Fernando Valley, middle 90s up in the Santa Clarita Valley, with again more 70s closer to the coast and some 80s in our basins. 7-day forecast for the coast, low 70s through Monday, warmer beginning on Tuesday, less in the way of marine layer beginning Tuesday as well. Orange County Basin, middle 80s through Monday, pushing 90 Tuesday, same deal Wednesday, slightly cooler Thursday. Inland Empire, upper 90s for the next 3 days. Triple digit heat comes back on Tuesday. Lots of sunshine. Mountains, middle to upper 70s through Monday. Tuesday, a little bit warmer yet Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. For the high desert, windy conditions during the afternoons, middle to upper 90s going through Tuesday. Triple digits on Wednesday. Coachella Valley right around 110 through about Monday. Slightly warmer Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the warmest days of the week going into next week, Taylor. So hot temperatures coming through the middle part of the next week for pretty much everybody except for the coast. Back to you.
Please open the door for me!
While the critics may not agree, Dino Fever is back in full force at the box office. The latest installation of the Spielberg-inspired dinosaur saga, Jurassic World Rebirth, surpassed expectations on its opening day, shaping up to bring in more than $130 million across the holiday weekend. And if dinosaurs or reboots aren't your thing, the LA Times put out its top list of what to watch this holiday weekend. On the top of the list, of course, Ryan Coogler's Sinners, available to stream now on Max starting today. On Disney Plus, Andor Season 2 is getting rave reviews. Also, Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal on Max. The latest in Netflix's Trainwreck series is on there too. And rounding out the list, Mid-Century Modern and Snowfall, both streaming on Hulu. Time for Trending, where we highlight all the things you guys are posting about online. Our first trending topic, Americans winning at Wimbledon. Take a look.
That's out. Job done, Taylor Fritz.
Fifth-ranked Taylor Fritz is into the round of 16 at Wimbledon. The San Diego native is one of 3 Americans winning today on the grass. Ben Shelton and Amanda Anisimova also advanced today. Good day for American tennis on the 4th of July. And pay attention, all you SpongeBob fans. Our next trending topic is SpongeBob stamps. That's right, the U.S. Postal Service is releasing stamps featuring SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, and all of your other favorite SpongeBob characters. Fans of the show are, of course, very excited about this. You can order them now online. And Joey Chestnut is back on top. The competitive eating legend devoured 70.5 hot dogs in just 10 minutes at Nathan's 4th of July contest in Coney Island, reclaiming his title after missing last year. This marks Chestnut's 17th win. And on that note, I'm Taylor Torregano. This is your afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you with a look out at the Statue of Liberty. How beautiful. Enjoy the day. Make sure you stay safe and have a great 4th of July. We'll have more news and weather just after the break. Stay with us.